All right, guys. Hey, the outline this week is also due with your sources and with those two questions. So, just to cover a little bit about the outline so there's no confusion, I was going to write this out, but maybe it's better through a video. Just like in class when we went over each topic so far that we've talked about, we presented different points of view, and we tried to do that through different moral theories, how somebody would think about a moral theory in this case, or how somebody would think about that topic from a moral theory in this other situation. That's what you're doing with your paper. So you're going to take, for example, abortion. You're either going to be for it, against it, or for it sometimes, or up to a certain point. That's that is your point of view. So what you need to do is make sure that when you write your paper, if it is on abortion, you have different points of view on that and why, okay, according to the moral theory that you picked. And then you have opposing views and why, according to the other moral theory that you picked. So if you pick divine command theory, for example, against abortion, you might say, it's not permitted in any circumstance. You may say that you don't believe that abortion is correct because if your faith is Christianity, you may say, well, there's a verse that says, I knew you before you were in, or I knew you while you were in the womb. Okay, that would be an example of a reason against it. You may say life is sacred, and that's fine too. Whatever your three or four, I would say, points of view against abortion are, you want to find somebody else that said it first and be able to present that in an analysis. For abortion, you might go with Kant, or you might go with cultural relativism. You may say the culture approves of it, or a culture approves of it up to a certain point, whichever that may be. You need to find somebody that comes up with those reasons that's smarter than you and be able to cite them. You may say that a child isn't a child and to a certain point, and whatever that might be. Find somebody else that said it. So you have to have 2 points of views or 3 points of views, and you're going to look at them from different positions according to your moral theories and find information from somebody that's scholarly, that supports those, compare and contrast. All right, just like we've done in class. When we were in the class face to face, a lot of the times we were coming up with our own points of view, and that's fine. But the question is, are they really our own points of view, or are they somebody else's points of view that we have heard them said and we adopted them as ourselves, as our own point of view? So when you write your outline, first your outline must be cited. Right? So as you write your material, if you give the definition of something, you got to cite that in your outline, because with your outline, you're going to submit another set of resources, another set of sources with your outline. So make sure it's all cited all the way through. You will get 15 points out of your 80 taken off if you don't cite it. That's somebody else's work. This is a research paper. Okay? It's not being persuasive. All you're doing is showing a couple points of view from scholarly viewpoints, and you're going to make the analysis. I'm even giving you the spot where you can, write your own opinion in there, but then you're going to come to a conclusion. And the reader then, with correct information or the best information that they have, will be able to decide for themselves, this makes sense, whatever it might be from that point of view. All right, so it's for, against, opposing. You're taking different points of view, and people are claiming them as their own truth. So that is the gist of it. You guys know that. As we move forward with our outline, we've got the different sections. And in the PowerPoint that most of you have sent me, you have those. Just a couple general ideas here. First is your paper will be 5 to 7 pages. It'll be spaced 1.5 spaces, 12-point font, 12-point periods also. Depending on your style of writing, you may or may not have headings. That's up to you. By the time I'm done reading your paper, I want to know from different points of view, from the different points of view, I can make the best decision that can be made on that issue. Okay? And those are from those moral theories. All right. So let's take a look first at our introduction. So for your outline, you probably want to have an introduction heading. All right. And within that heading or your introduction, I want to know, what is the topic? What are you writing about? What is the moral theory that is going to be for it or okays it? What's the moral theory against it? And then somehow you want to work in a conclusion. For example, if it's abortion and you are against it, you might say, after reading the following research, the most logical conclusion would be that abortion is not permitted by the divine command theory or something like that, however you put that together. And then make sure that that's cited. Your summary, that's the next part of your paper I want to look at. What is this case about? After you've read your chapters, you've seen all of the moral dilemmas. All right. In the case of abortion, and we're looking at the dilemma morally, what is it about? Why is this topic particularly important, or why is it a moral issue? The different points of views. If you're using divine command theory and cultural relativism, go ahead and define them. What do they mean? What do they do? As far as for that topic, how are they associated with abortion, divine command theory? Why? You're not doing the analysis there, but you're just giving a background on why it's important morally for this to be discussed. The next section's your analysis. This is where you want to go through, and this is the bulk of your paper. I want to know, as I'm reading it, okay, the points of view from divine command theory, the points of view from cultural relativism, if those were your two moral theories, about abortion. You can either give out maybe 3 or 4 reasons why divine command theory would be against it, and then you can give out 3 or 4 reasons why maybe cultural relativism supports it. And within your outline, your analysis, point by point as you're going down, tell me, is it, I guess in if you use cultural relativism, you can either lay them out for against, or you can say, for example, well, divine command theory says abortion would not be permitted in any circumstance. However, cultural relativism may say abortion is okay up to a certain point. And then you would cite that according to Dr. So-and-so, because they believe life starts whatever that is. But make sure you cite that in your, so in your analysis, you're comparing, you're contrasting. And then at the end of your analysis section, make sure that you kind of wrap it up with some type of conclusion, the best that you can, explaining the conclusion, why in this section or within this section, who seems to have the most factual evidence to support for or against. So you could say however you come together with that for both. Then you go into your opinion section. Guys, don't make this more than a 3/4 page, because it's exactly that. It's an opinion. It's what you think and why. Not going to elaborate anymore on that. Then, with the conclusion of your paper, okay, what you want to do is go back and look at your introduction, and within that introduction, kind of write the conclusion. It's your conclusion, almost like your introduction in past tense. You're looking at your introduction in past tense. You're going to lay it out. This is what the cultural relativist would believe. This is what the divine command theorist believes. Therefore, with the points being proven, blah, 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 however you want to write that, conclude your paper. Make sure that it's scholarly. Make sure that it is factual face the best you can with that moral theory. Lay it out. I want you guys to understand two different points of view, and that you're probably not the author of those points of view or any of the points of view. Even with your own experience, others probably have experienced that. Once you have your outline done, remember, these are point by points. You're not writing paragraphs. All you're doing is laying out your research, where the research came from, cite it, and attach to your outline, I want another copy of your sources. That's it. So please put that together and then submit that due Sunday, and that is worth 80 points. As far as your sources, if you have not turned those in yet, you get those in to me, because your sources don't count as the 50 points when you turn them in with your outline. They're two separate. So you're going to turn your sources in, you're going to turn your outline in, even though your outline also has your references with it. All right? So this week, make sure you get your references in, make sure you get your outline in, your sources in, those two questions I asked, and then I'm going to have an essay for you to write about happiness. I'm going to go ahead and wait till next week and assign that essay, because it's going to take a little bit of time for you guys to get this stuff done this week for me. So do those two questions that I asked, and then go ahead and get your outline in and make sure your sources are in for this week. All right, guys, thanks, and I have another video next week for you.